Welcome to Cybertopia. Tonight's session is called Hostile Takeover. We'll jump in with a content warning to start here. This scenario features multiple characters who use and are addicted to various forms of drugs with various effects. Progress never stops, and the pharmaceutical industry in particular has benefited from decades of scientific research into human biological processes and neurological chemistry. Laboratories and production facilities pop up all over the place to develop and produce ever-widening arrays of augments and enhancement drugs, catering to the genuinely in need all the way across society to the mega-rich and their chemical desires. However, despite the huge strides in societal well-being, there will always be criminal elements amongst wider communities, and there are those who choose to operate outside the acceptable bounds of decency when it comes to business and possession. One such gang of illicit dealers and their junkie cohorts have taken over a small factory on the outskirts of a science park in the city, and they are believed to be using it for their own personal supply lines, secretly splicing the substances with their own illicit concoctions and distributing them to the most vulnerable lower classes of the populace. The factory in question belongs to a business interest of Amazing Corp called Future Farm, and the leader of the gang, understood to be the Loose Laces, is believed to have links to the anarchist group known as the Free Earthers, giving multiple reasons why this operation needs to be shut down. It goes without saying that any information on the Free Earthers should be gathered where possible, so it would be preferable to take the leader in for questioning. There is also value in the property and the research that takes place there, so efforts should be taken to leave as much intact as can be expected after clearing out the undesirables. Hi, I'm Ben. I will be running this game. I made this game, and I will be taking the place of any NPCs and narrative that occurs in the world as we play.
Hi, I'm K.O. Myers.
Hi, I'm Morgan.
Hi, I'm Valerie.
Hi, I'm Basil.
As usual, at the start of each mission, you are all in your cryopods back in Amazing Corp headquarters, and you awake, your pods lift up, and doors slide open, and before you, you see a holoscreen pops down. And actually, it's an unfamiliar face this time. You've not seen this person. It appears to be quite a military-looking older gentleman. He doesn't look best pleased to be here. All right, you sentient flesh sacks. There's been a change of management, so I'm going to be taking care of things here from now on. We're done with all this tabula rasa nonsense. You're all just Amazing Corp now, so we're going to be doing things a bit differently with you. I ain't getting involved in what you do or how, and frankly, I don't care. Just get your jobs done. George, record this, will you? I don't want to have to say this shit every time. Now, get out there, kick some ass, and don't make me regret keeping this whole department around. And he just blips away. And then another face pops up, and you've not seen this person before. It looks like a timid assistant type looking man. Hi, I'm George. Yeah, you heard the boss. There's been some changes, and old boss lady's she's gone. So I'm supposed to introduce the missions now. I see what she meant about the note taking. Sorry. Right. Yes. There's a gang that's taken over some pharma facility in the science park, and the bosses want to basically take over that place. So we're sending you in to clear it out. It's not an Amazing Corp facility, but it's someone that's been apparently resistant to being acquired. So I guess the hope is that we'll go in and do them a big favor, and then they'll let us buy them. So I don't know. I don't know much. They're called the Loose Laces, apparently, the gang. There's users of their produce, I guess, and the people that make it in the gang. I don't know. The leaders. What's he called? Jones. Something like that. Apparently he has links to the Free Earthers and we want to know more, I guess. Yeah. I don't know what. How does this stuff usually end? Oh yeah, I'm supposed to help you get set up. They've acquired the Alpha India bot that helps people get set up. They've taken that away to requisition for something else. So I'm supposed to help. Maybe you can tell me about yourselves a bit, and then I'll be able to help you with any questions you have about the mission. Morgan, why don't you introduce us to Zap?
Yeah, my character is Zap. Pronouns are they or them. Zap's core is a cyber sovereign. Zap is how tall did I say they were? Very
6'4"?
tall. 6'4", I think.
Barefoot, that was.
Yeah, 6'4" barefoot. That's right. But of course, they're in wedge heels, because how can you not? I would describe Zap essentially as a glamdrogenous human. They're just magnificent. They're always in black. They're probably wearing some sort of like elegant catwalk poncho thing. They're also just really into iridescent. If you look closely at their skin is actually in specific places, and it's more artistic, beautiful places than necessarily really practical places. So Zap's cheekbones are an artificial armor plating, as well as their calves, because their calves are like, just cheekily visible over their wedge heels.
I like the thought that you're actually out there like deflecting bullets and hits
Right.
with your cheeks.
Yeah, exactly. Not the face. I've just made sure it's not the face. They're also like an ice blonde with like glacier blue eyes, just to really get that full effect. And they have really long stiletto nails. They're sharp, they're narrow, and if you find out you're probably on Zap's bad side, Zap's nails actually eject. Like Zap can throw their nails as if they're sharp projectile daggers. They do a lot of damage. It's really exciting. As far as their look and appearance goes, you also notice they have a giant black iridescent hummingbird brooch that actually turns into their targeting drone for their knife skills. Zap's a badass. I love them so much. I want to be them.
So cool. Yeah, I love Zap. Okay, next, Valerie, why don't you tell us about Frankie?
Frankie Collard is an ex-SWAT team breacher who's sort of moved out of that area because they're also like incredibly new age and hippie. So they like big explosions and things that go bang, but they're also like in tune with the cosmos in general.
The cosmos is the perfect thing for going bang.
I mean, it all started with a big bang. Exactly. Their pronouns are he, they. Just like a really big kind of beefy, sort of masculine look, you would say, but with long hippie hair and like a beard. As they emerge from the pod, they're wearing like a jumpsuit or overalls that if you kind of imagine a lava lamp colours, but sort of made into fabric, and that's
I love it. Like, and it's got like the flowingness of the lava as well, because this is future fabric, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like there's sparkling lights, similar kind of sort of magentas and greens and turquoise in their hair as well as they move. Because in their last mission, they had to go very plain and undercover. And this is them basically getting back to themselves. The backstory of how they left the SWAT team, I'm not saying it did involve psychoactive chemicals that of a hippie nature, but I'm also not saying it didn't.
I love how the first two characters we've introduced are very, very inconspicuous.
Yeah. Indeed, as Frankie looks around, their eyes just sort of go wide when they see Zap, and they're just like, "Oh my god, you're beautiful, like the universe." And then they sort of slap themselves around the face. No, I'm a professional.
Okay, those two very, very bright and beaming characters. I think it probably makes sense next to go on to Basil. Your character is very much the opposite of these two, right?
Yeah, so Clarity's whole thing, Clarity uses they, them. Clarity's whole thing is that they don't really want to attract a bunch of attention because their core skill is stealth. So, Clarity comes out of the pod but is not trying to draw attention to themselves. It's just like, how quietly can I kind of lift the lid on this thing and kind of slip out and then pretend that I've been standing here this whole time. And mostly they're just kind of patting themselves down and making sure that they have all their things and that, kind of thinking like, oh, I really should have probably wrapped my hair before I got in this pod. But it seems like all my hair cuffs and all my gear is still here. And so...
shake off some icicles.
Yeah, just sort of like making sure that it didn't cause any sort of frizz. They keep like a little thing of detangler in their back pocket to help keep the frizz down. But, they notice Zap and the others and just kind of give like a quick wave like, oh, okay, cool. It's not just me here. Hey, just to show that, yeah, I'm friendly, but, I'm not quite going to be that glittery.
So Clarity is a hacker, right?
Yes. Clarity has a drone that is currently not in sight, is currently hanging out as a hair accessory. And they're kind of fiddling with like a few of their locks just to make sure that that's still there. And then they kind of just relax once they realize that, okay, I still have all my stuff. But yeah, hacking and stealth, and they have a device that lets them scan people to make semi-realistic holograms. The holograms can't touch anything, but like from a distance, you're like, oh, cool, that looks right. That looks like a person.
I really hope that at some point during the mission, there's the two drones just kind of zipping past each other, doing things like it's going to be fun. Okay, so finally, KO, why don't you reintroduce us to Bludgeon?
Absolutely. Bludgeon, I think, also exists on the much less showy end of the spectrum. He is a short, squat fireplug of a man, rounded muscle that's much more about strength than aesthetics. Is a him, pinkish skin, bald head, kind of stubbly cheeks, and a stiff mustache that he's very proud of, and I'm sure has icicles clinging to it when he climbs out of the pod. His kit is also very straightforward, like sturdy boots, trousers with pockets for gear. He's got a sort of plastic halo that he wears around his head that has like motion and infrared sensors in it to help him detect things that might be hard to see. He wears a 3/4 length gray blazer that can do a sort of blurring effect to help him be a little harder to identify and hit. And then the taser gloves I was using in previous missions, I traded out for something that has sort of tentacles on them that can either wrap around and become big masses for punching or can spread out and be used for grappling. And he's very sort of physical character. His core is Punchbot, is what I called it.
Yeah, such great cores we've got in this group. So it's going to be very fun to see how this all comes together. Okay, gang. It looks like we've got a pretty diverse team. Is that what are you teams? Yeah. Okay, we'll call you teams. I guess the next step is to figure out how you're going to approach this all. Like we've got a layout of we've got the schematics of the building, so we kind of know where everything is. Well, I guess we don't know where all the people are, but is there anything you'd like to know?
When they say shut it down, is this like physically stopping the operation? Is this ruining their reputation with the local, with either their clientele or other distributors in the area? Like, is there any more guidance on what that means?
So the factory is technically owned by Future Farm still, and that's who we want to acquire, I suppose. It's the Loose Laces street gang that have kind of muscled their way in. I don't believe any of the employees from Future Farm are still on site, but we want to clear out the Loose Laces so that they're no longer kind of occupying the building, so it's safe to acquire, I suppose.
So punching will be good.
Yes, that will definitely be useful at some point, although I suspect we're going to want to get some information first just to make sure that we're not completely surprised going in.
Yeah, I'll be honest, we don't have a lot of intel about these Loose Laces. We don't know if you're going to be coming up against armed resistance or something like that in there. yeah, it's probably best to have a look before like jumping straight in.
Do we pose as customers to gain access, or how do we get in?
I guess I could pose as a customer. I mean, I'm not saying I've been a customer of these types of people before, but I sort of know people who might have been. And
I've got a friend, my friend
Yeah.
lives in Canada. Yeah.
Well, maybe if Frankie has friends who actually have been customers, can we get intel from them? Like, is that a good place to
I mean,
start?
I'm not saying of these particular people, just I know the lingo. I know the cosmic things.
I believe we still need to exercise some kind of level of discretion on this as well. So we don't really want it coming out that Amazing Corps have been engaging in these sorts of illicit activities, if you understand.
Right. Amazing Corpse doesn't want anyone to know that we're shaking down the regular types. That's it.
Yeah, pretty. I think so. Yeah, I'm not in charge of policy, so yeah. I mean, I've got the blueprints here. I can talk to you a bit about what we can see in terms of the makeup of the building. It looks like there's 3 main areas. There's a kind of a production area. There seems to be like the main hub of the building. There's a lobby bit and it's maybe some sort of delivery or cargo area, I guess. And we can see on the records they've got a dedicated substation out the back where I suppose the power is supplied and all that. So I don't know how helpful that is.
So for the substation, I mean, I'm assuming it's locked, but that's sort of like we're saying that powers like the main building. So maybe we could, creatively unlock the substation door, go in, turn off the power, and then sort of go in and take what we need. Alternatively, do we know anything like about specific members of the Loose Laces? Like maybe like the guy in charge? Maybe we could come up with a sort of rudimentary disguise and walk someone in or order them to go check out something just to get some people away from the building, something a little easier, or even just like, I don't know, in a jar window on the backside of the building.
So I think it looks like on these plans it's a 2-story building. There's some sort of office bit in the upper floors. I suppose your idea about the substation could work, but we do want to stress that we want to keep this facility intact. So don't go blowing up the substation or anything. Yeah, the boss, Jones. It's just a name we've got, Jones. Yeah, don't really know much about them.
What about the loading dock? Do they get deliveries of raw materials or anything, or is it only for sending stuff out?
So I don't know what the Loose Laces are doing with the loading dock, but they when it was under the control of Future Farm, they'd use it to bring in the raw materials and to send out to the distribution centers. I think there's supposed to be enough space for a small truck to get in there. It looks like there's a shutter, a roller shutter thingy, and I don't know if it's still operational, but there was like security on the entrances of this building previously.
So I'm sort of thinking if we send a truck there as if it's either to drop something off or to pick up something, get it in the dock, and then have it set up to create a distraction of some sort, whether that's smoke or fire or noise or whatever, bring security into the loading dock, and then either have our folks sneak in from someplace else or kind of in the confusion try to get into the rest of the building from that point. Does that make sense?
I like it, just as long as they don't believe that someone is coming, if they don't believe they're under attack, as long as it's like it looks like an accident. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Yeah, I like that plan.
Yeah.
Okay, so we can get you a van to go in with. Are you all going to go in the van, or is someone going to like hop out and scout around or go to the substation? I guess this is for you to work out when you get there.
Yeah, I actually had a quick question. Due to the nature of substations, but also because this is in the future, can you hack a substation?
I don't know. Maybe. It's all just technology, really, right? So I'm sure there's transferable skills that could do something.
Okay, well then I would say Clarity is probably going to try to, in the confusion, sneak over to the substation and try to cause some shenanigans. Not explode anything, but definitely try to maybe turn off the lights or something to help out.
So the advantage of the substation approach is that it's actually kind of separate from the main building. Like, you don't have to go into the facility to get to the substation. It's kind of around the back and has its own separate entrance. So you could do that without needing to go into the central area at all. So I like your plans. You all seem like very smart people. I hope you all survive.
I mean, Frankie's area of expertise is just getting into places. So I think probably send Frankie to the substation as well. There may be a little bit of explosions, but not blowing the place up.
Okay, just be careful then, yeah?
Yeah.
I know there's other ways to get into things without blowing them up, okay, Frankie? Yeah, and you did well on the first one with the train thing, didn't you? So, yeah, you should be fine. Okay, I'll get the van ready and we'll send you on your way. Does anyone have anything else before we go?
Well, I'm wondering if maybe there's a hybrid here where some or all of us go in the van, and then after they let us in, then the power goes out and we can sneak out of the van into the rest of the building in that confusion. Rather than making the van itself the distraction, that's an entry point, and then the substation jiggery-pokery is the distraction.
It's good to have options, right?
I like it. Just as long as we, try and get a little information before we go diving in. I don't want to be faced with anything surprising, but otherwise I'm happy with this plan. I figure I'm best suited to whatever happens once we're in the building anyway. So yeah, just tell me where you need me.
Ooh, all right.
I like the idea of getting info first as well. And I feel like Frankie is, if someone spots them, they're the easiest one to make up a cover story on the spot. So maybe Frankie's going to go and scope it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably a lot of other customers on site, so I'm sure you won't be alone in your appearance. So yeah, I think that you're all going to be fine. Okay? All right. Well, I'll see you in a few hours when you come back with all the things you need, okay? All right. Bye.
So long.
All right. Well, Frankie, I think you've got the opening number here. Let's go.
All right. So you'll all drive up in your van towards the facility. Who's going to go up to the loading dock entrance and who's not going that way?
Are we doing the recon first or driving up at the same time as the recon? That's a question.
So we've got Clarity going in to the substation and Frankie going ahead. Through the front?
Just to see how their people laid out, what sort of defences are, then come back out and report back, was my understanding.
Okay, so do we want to go halfsies so that Frankie has some backup? I will say Zap will not blend in.
Zap could be like a sort of like the additional flamboyant distraction, like how celebrities go out and get drugs or whatever and kind of make a fuss about it. Like there's like, the normal customer and then there's that customer who's just like, were you wearing gloves when you made this? Who last touched this? Have you washed your hands recently? How long has this been in the sun? Just weird sort of like that prima donna client that nobody likes and just kind of, and it's like, I don't like the shape of these pills, put them back, recut them. this one's, bring out a tape measure. This is half a centimeter off, that sort of thing. While, Frankie's like, I'm so sorry about, I'm so sorry about them. They're like that. I'm terribly sorry. But, they pay well. Just kind of just roll with it.
That's so good.
I love the sound of this, and I'm willing to sound like an idiot trying to come up with it. This is me completely out of character here, though. I will tell you, I am not this human, so I'm just going to make shit up.
That sounds perfect. I mean, it's the future, so
this is not my realm of expertise, so I'm just going to be saying weird stuff.
I'm the same. Frankie, on the other hand, probably knows what they're talking about a little bit, at least.
Yeah. I'm not going to be finicky. If you want your characters to say something that you can't put into words yourself, just say, like, my character talks about something, like, talks about this thing that I can't, like, actually put into words. And we'll just say, yes, you do that. And we'll do a roll about it or whatever. So.
Good, because I don't know anything about the clandestine, like, party drug atmosphere, so never been into a raid in my life. Sorry. Yeah.
So there's one thing to clear up. Are we going in together or as two separate clients?
Do you want to be Zap's entourage?
Frankie is kind of a bit awestruck, a bit smitten with Zap. So he's definitely tempted by that idea and sort of role-playing it.
I mean, Frankie could be Zap's assistant or something, right? Like, they could be the one that knows about the drugs and Zap is the one that makes sure they look right.
Okay. And Zap is definitely, like, I'm going to go in with, like, all of that strung out, coming down kind of energy.
Do you have these in yellow?
It just doesn't match. Do you see? I have an aesthetic.
Okay, so are Bludgeon and Clarity going together to the substation, or?
So what I was thinking, Bludgeon could be driving the van, drive it up to the loading dock and lay on the horn to try to get let in, and either have dropped Clarity off at the substation on the way, or Clarity could sneak out and try to get into the substation while I'm making that noise.
Yeah, so I think, like, Clarity could probably sneak out with the noise because that would give them also an opportunity to, like, use their little hologram machine that they have to, like, create, like, an extra worker, because it's kind of weird just having, like, one person in a truck show up and it's like, oh, I'm here to pick up stuff, but it's like, okay, but where are the people who should be helping you move this? Like, the hologram won't be able to pick anything up, but, it's like, oh, these workers are so lazy. I'm sure they'll get to it when they can. Just kind of, I guess, help them wheel this stuff out here, and then they'll take it from there. So, like, while that's happening, then Clarity can, between the horn and everything else, can kind of just, slip out from the truck and head over to the substation. Because I think otherwise, I feel like people would notice a truck, like, rolling up to a substation.
You'd hope that the gang would at least be, like, slightly strung out, maybe, and not paying the best attention. But let's see what happens. Welcome to the mid-roll. We're going to use this space to tell you a bit about ourselves and also to celebrate some of our awesome friends. Firstly, maybe it'd be a good idea to tell you a bit about this game and where you can find it. Cybertopia is a rules-lite sci-fi game created by myself, Ben Newbon, and the base rulebook can be bought pay what you want over at my itch page. You can find me mostly on Twitter, just by my name, Ben Newbon, and I also have some trailers and whatnot up on YouTube, also under my name. And here's some info about the players from this episode.
Hello, I'm K.O. Myers. I'm a freelance podcast editor as Particulate Media. I'm on Twitter at Troublematic, and my website is particulatemedia.com.
Hi, I'm Basil, and you can find me on Twitter at Kobanya_Kana, KOBANYA_KANA. On itch.io, I'm Kobanya, and my website is towerofbasil.wordpress.com.
Hi, I'm Valery North. I make video games, TTRPGs, and write music and stories. My most recent big project is post-apocalyptic TTRPG Seekers in the Blasted Zones. You can find me as Valery North on Itch, Twitch, Tumblr, Twitter, and SoundCloud.
Hi, my name is Morgan, aka Tempest of Tempest Games. You can find me most places on the internet and my Linktree at the address of Tempest TT Games. That's 3 T's in the middle. Nowadays, you'll mostly find me guesting on APs like this, or writing TTRPGs of my own. I have an itch.io where you can find delights such as corporate overgoats and enterprising on ends.
Next up, here's a quick promo for a good friend of the show. There are a lot of D&D actual plays out there trying to be unique and funny, but Reflex Save really does take it up a notch like only Australians can. And they don't just stick to official modules either. Definitely check out their side quest of Penny Blake's weird cheese adventure in their back catalogue sometime.
Hey cool people, do you like mead, magic and long walks in the icy tundra? Ever wonder what your sled dogs are thinking about? Why not cap off your night with a frosty tabletop adventure?
You're my mum. You made me out of meat. Meat mother.
If I done.
Is your grandma dying of the lake? I'm sorry, I have to ask.
But it's actually because I bought some boxer shorts from Targets recently, and they forgot to remove the security clip.
In bust we must.
In bust we must, indeed.
Onward. Excuse me, young man.
Careful, I've got a cut bum. Wait, do you have a missing ring finger?
No, I got yours now.
That makes sense.
No.
Fuck this, I'm having a Kingston. I'm getting all sweaty and I need a Kingston.
She is desperate to keep her realm, and she will fight any that would take that away.
Well, grab your Ugg boots and join Reflex Save every Wednesday on your favourite podcast platform.
And now, back to the action. We'll start, I think, with Frankie and Zap and see how you do. So, as the two of you approach the main entrance, it's one of these kind of big, fancy, sciencey looking buildings. It's a big glass front and there are lots of shiny metal reflective surfaces, and there's clearly what should be a couple of hologram displays that are not currently functioning, and you can see there is a set of big double glass doors on the front of the building, and beyond them you can see a large, I guess like a reception desk kind of thing. Looks like it's made of like some huge chunk of solid metal just planted in the middle of this atrium, and then there's a set of stairs that go up to the right of this to a balcony, and looks like there's a door and some area up there, and then there's another door you can see that goes past the reception desk to the left down to the back of the atrium. If you go up to the front door, it just opens. There's no lock on this door. It's just a sliding set of doors that just opens for you.
Well, just coming around the corner, Zap is gonna squat down and kind of just touch a pinky finger into the dirt and kind of rub it a little bit under their eyes, try to get some of that shadow in, because, I mean, they haven't brought any makeup with. They just always look this fabulous. Yeah, it really is. And then they sort of like frizz their hair a little bit. They've normally got a sort of tall undercut with kind of an almost retro look, and it like doesn't move on top normally. It's like, it's magnificent. It kind of goes to heights that it's not supposed to go to normally, and they just, the weird thing is they know exactly like where to, frizz it up a little bit to just give it that edge of like, this is probably 12 hours too long kind of hairstyle. Been up for a while, partying, all of that. And looks at Frankie and goes, "Are you ready?"
I'm always ready. Even when I'm not ready, I'm ready. This isn't the end of the road or the start of the road. This is the road.
Here we go. I'm sorry. And just goes. Long strides with purpose, straight through the front door, slams into the door, big like catwalk stomps as they go.
Okay, so as you stride into the atrium area, it is deserted. There's no people in this part of the building and no real signs of life either. It looks like it's been completely looted. Anything of value is gone. There's like evidence that was probably once pot plants around. They're gone. There's nothing at all on or around the big metal desk, and yeah, there's not even like a phone or any screens or anything. Anything that was of value in this area is clearly been taken. So there's the steps going up, and then there's the door on the bottom floor at the back as well.
So are there any people around first as we go in?
The atrium is deserted.
Is there like a track on the floor showing where footsteps have gone? Because if other customers come this way, then there'll presumably be like worn bits and places where the dust has gathered.
All right, let's have the first roll of the night to see what you can tell about the flow in this entranceway.
Well, we're talking about flow, so I'm going to claim my cosmic skill for that. And I've got observation as well. So that's 2 lots of +1 makes 2 that we can add to this. That is 13 in total.
Okay, it's really messy in there. Like, as much as there isn't anything of value, there's a lot of like just grime, and it's really not been cleaned in a while. There's probably been a lot of foot traffic, and I suppose from that you can tell like there are footprints and scuff marks along the floor that go to the door at the back of this room, rather than going up the steps. There is some evidence of people having gone up the stairs, but most of the traffic seems to have gone through to the back door.
Right. I guess Frankie just goes that way.
At a quick glance, can I tell if there are any cameras?
You can see there are cameras in this area, but none of them seem to be functioning.
All right. I'm just going to put on a show, guys. Okay. How's this? You can mime to me like where I need to be going and what I need to be doing and what you're thinking about, but like I'm just putting on a noise show here. Ready?
Yeah. Cannot wait.
Okay. So as Zap comes crashing through the door, they just sort of stop, feet at shoulder length, and snap their fingers. Freddy! Freddy, is this the place? Freddy, is this where you get it? Freddy. Freddy, and then doesn't stop to listen to you.
Yeah. Frankie's just like stammering in the background as part of the performance.
Yeah. And then it stomps around. There's nobody here, Freddy. What's going on? Goes up to the drawer, starts digging through the drawers in the desk to see if there's anything. Can I roll for that?
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, that was an 8. And I don't really have any other skills. I was hoping I'd get a 20 so I can add to my snooping.
Yeah, the desk seems much like the rest of the area, that it's been completely emptied, looted. There's maybe some scraps of paper and stuff in there, but there's nothing of value or substance, really.
Okay. Freddy, there's nothing. Nobody. What's going on? Hello? What, Freddy, is this the place? And then keeps going back, like you're pointing me in the direction. Zap's just gonna go in the direction that Frankie is pointing them to. And is there a door?
That's the door
so
that the footprints go to. That's where where Frankie's pointing.
Zap's gonna crash through that door too. Hello. I need my stuff. Come on, I need it. Let's go. Come on, you wanna help me out? Hello.
So Zap does literally crash into this door because it is locked. The door does not open.
Okay, then we're banging on the door. They're gonna stand there, sort of. No. Oh no. I take this back. No, Freddy, knock on the door. Go on. Loudly, please.
Yeah. Oh my God. Frankie briefly reaches for the chewing gum-like plastic explosive that they've got, but then it's an actual knock. We're not actually trying to get through this door. We're trying to get someone to open it. So does rap firmly on the door.
All right. I guess you've made enough noise coming in and with all the shouting and stuff that you quite quickly hear from the other side of the door, like, what is it? What you want? Who you? What are you doing here?
Who are you, Freddy? You're the one who buys here usually, aren't you?
This is desperate. I couldn't get my usual supplier. Hey man, I got someone coming down from like a real bad trip. I need something to take the edge off, man.
Ugh,
It's
on.
desperate. Come on.
How did you find out about us? How do you know about this place?
I don't know. You told me about it, Freddy.
I know people, man. They're into this stuff. I'm desperate, man. You gotta help us out.
I look. Not just anyone can come in here. All right, like what What are you wanting?
Everything you've got. Oh my God. And if it's green, oh yes. If it's green, please. And shiny. Like I need something shiny, something soft, something kind of bright. Have you got anything bright?
Yeah. What? No, what? Hey.
Frankie is interpreting all this as being like the experience that Zap is after, rather than literally the appearance of the drugs.
They want a green shiny come down.
I need it to be soft, but I also want to chew on it. Do you know what I mean? I want to chew on it.
We do have like some way to hear each other at this point, right?
You have like earpieces or something. So the other two of you are hearing this also, and it's probably quite a show.
I think Bludgeon would turn to Clarity and be like, they really know their drugs.
Clarity just sort of nods and is just like, yeah, I suppose so.
All right, and I suppose actually that's probably a good moment for us to switch over to Bludgeon and Clarity and see how you are getting on. So you're going to drive up to the side entrance with the loading bay shutters, and as you drive up you can see, there's this big roller shutter thing, and next to it there's a separate walk-in door, and it kind of goes down a little ramp, as these things often do, and you can see just kind of off to the side of the building, around the back somewhere, a little, maybe like only 50, 100 yards away, there's what looks very distinctly like a electrical substation.
Gotcha. Cameras on the outside?
Yes, you can see there are cameras. They aren't like hidden or anything. They're in very obvious positions, probably more as deterrence than anything at this point, but you can immediately tell there is no like lights on them. They don't look like they're functional.
Oh, even better. I was going to try to position the van so that it would be between the camera and the substation, so to give Clarity some extra cover, but I guess, that we just pull up to the shutters and just lay on the horn.
Okay. So you blast the horn and nothing immediately happens.
Did you want to be dropped off, or do you want to sneak from here?
No. I'll sneak from here. And actually, I feel like Clarity would probably be hiding in like actual inside. Well, actually, what kind of truck are we talking about? Are we talking about like a moving van or like a pickup truck? What kind of? I should have asked. What kind of truck is this?
I mean, I was picturing probably something like a moving van, not a huge like Arctic lorry kind of thing, but like a medium-sized van rather than a pickup truck. But if you have a different idea about what you're wanting, then you can just say.
I was picturing that too.
Yeah, I'm just trying to picture the right kind of truck, because it's either like a pickup truck, like a U-Haul, or like one of those commercial trucks. So
think like one of those long carriage U-Haul vans.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, I've been in one of those. Yeah, so that's where I imagine Clarity is probably just like talking to Bludgeon through the headset, because they're hiding out in the, the dark part in the van where you keep all the packaging boxes and whatnot, and has removed one of the cuffs from their hair so that they can hold it out and make a hologram of like just sort of like a generic sort of like laborer delivery person. So it sort of sells the illusion of we're here to pick up some stuff. And, while the horn's being laid on, they're started to slowly like inch up the back door of the truck so they can slip out and head to the substation.
Okay, so nothing immediately happens when you lay on the horn.
Customer service is unresponsive on both ends of building. All right. So I think at that point, Bludgeon would get out of the van and just leave the door open, leave the engine running, and walk up and just bang on the gate.
Okay.
And probably while that's happening, Clarity has exited the van and is starting to creep towards the substation. And like the hologram that they made has walked out of the back part of the van and is kind of standing maybe a foot or two behind Bludgeon, just sort of looking like, I'm the employee here. I'm just trying to follow instructions.
Can the holograms make noise, or are they just images?
I didn't really develop them that well. I just know they can't touch things, so...
I kind of imagine it as just being like a graphical image, right?
Yeah.
I can't imagine a way that they'd also be able to make noise.
Yeah, like they can wave and stuff.
Yeah.
That makes the most sense, but it's the future. I didn't want to limit you.
Yes, this is true, actually. Okay, so Bludgeon bangs on the door a bit, and eventually, like a slit opens in the door that is to the side of where the main shutter is, and you can see a pair of eyes kind of peer through this gap in the door. Hello? Who goes there?
What is this, troll bridge? I have delivery. Open door.
I don't think we're expecting a delivery.
Yes, you are. Check your record. Or don't check your record. I don't care. Just open door.
We don't just let in a van unexpected. I'll need to go and check. And the slot covers over again, and that voice disappears.
And you said there was a person-sized door next to the garage door?
Yeah, so the slit was in that door.
Gotcha.
That the person was talking to you from. You couldn't really make out anything about that person, just that they had eyes.
Okay. After the person leaves, can I try the handle on the door? I'm assuming it's locked, but...
Yeah, if you try to handle the door is locked. There is a keypad next to the door that does still seem to be functional, is at least lit.
Okay. Would have liked Clarity to be here to hack that. Oh, well.
I don't think Clarity has gotten that far because I would feel like they probably wouldn't move until they were certain they've gotten somebody's attention. So I'd imagine while Bludgeon was like, knocking on the shutter, there's like, that little lip underneath where, like where you're supposed to back up the van. And then there's like that shelf. So they were probably crouched down there waiting to make sure that somebody was coming before they started creeping off. And so after hearing that voice, leave, they probably popped their head back up and were like, oh, are you good? Do you need a hand over here? Because otherwise I'm just going to keep going.
This might be more your speed.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Take a look at keypad.
And so with a little bit of wriggling, because they're like 5'3" and not all that strong, they decide, yeah, I'm going to hop up this way. And it's just like, oof, wait, let me, hold on, let me just, I got it. And then they get a leg up and they just kind of flop over and they're like, okay, cool. Nobody saw that. And they kind of dust off the grit. And they're like, all right, cool. And then they creep over to the keypad and I guess get out their hacker tools. And I think I need to roll for that, right?
Yeah. Just tell me what you're going to include in your role. That you can stack up as many fingers as you like.
So I guess then I could use both my hacking and my technology skill.
Yeah, and you've got items. Do you have any items for hacking as well?
The only thing I have is a password cracker.
Yeah.
And I mean, I've got my drone.
I'm sure you could do something to interface with it, so yeah.
Yeah, so they whip out their little password cracker and kind of figure out a way to kind of jam it in there. And they're like, wait, no, hold on, let me turn it. Hold on, wait. Okay, there it goes. And starts trying to...
So it's a +4 total then, yeah?
Yeah, math. Okay, and then let's see, I roll a d20. Why does this keep happening today? I rolled a 1.
Ooh, okay, interesting, okay. So a 1 gives you a trauma, which is a ongoing -1 penalty in a related thing. So fun to have it right at the start of the session. So, let's think of what related thing you could have a trauma in from this. It's basically like an anti-skill, right? So it will apply other times that you try and do this sort of thing. What could be the thing that goes wrong here? Open to suggestions, if anyone has any.
I mean, since Clarity keeps their drone in their hair cuff, it could be like they get zapped by the electricity from the keypad and then the drone activates, but is, not behaving correctly and just starts bonking into like the shutter repeatedly and just making a bunch of weird noise and not being helpful.
Okay, yeah.
And it's like, no, come back. Whisper, come back. You're supposed to be quiet. Whisper, quiet. What are you doing, buddy? And it's like, whoop, 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 whoop. And it's just like banging into the shutter like a little weirdo and occasionally crashing into like Clarity and trying to like bonk them in the head and then bonk Bludgeon in the head and just kind of being like, it's like, yeah, secret mission, really secret mission. Whoop, whoop, whoop. It's like, no, don't, shh, whisper, please.
So what I'm going to say is that we'll call this technological clumsiness.
Yay.
So basically, when you try and do stuff with tech from now on, you're going to have a -1 penalty of like basically clumsiness with it. It's not going to be general clumsiness, so you're still going to be able to walk and maneuver and stuff. But when you try and do stuff with tech, it's going to maybe be a little bit wobbly. So yeah, you exactly as you say, when you're jamming into this keypad, something goes wrong. And you get some feedback goes through you and it zaps into you. And suddenly all of your gear just starts like behaving in funny ways. Your drone does exactly what you were saying about like just bouncing around. And you definitely realize, oh no, something has gone wrong. I have not managed to crack this. I mean, no alarms go off or anything. Nothing seems to trigger on the keypad itself. So you're probably still not been noticed and you don't hear any like reactions from the other side or anything like that. But you have not managed to get through this door.
Drones do drugs as well?
This is what happens when you don't update your drivers, okay? Like, these keypads are clearly too old for my technology. This should not be... Whisper, please, just be quiet. Just sit in the corner for a little bit. Something. Hover over there. Good grief.
I love it. The whisper is everything but a whisper right now.
Presumably... Zap and Frankie can hear all this going on through the in-ear communications.
Yeah, I'd say so.
So I think Frankie's sort of going to do like hand gestures, like they're in trouble. You stay here, keep talking. I'm going to head up the stairs and see if there's another way in.
Okay.
Because they weren't letting us in through this door.
I think what we'll do is have Morgan, if you can roll for basically being a distraction. See how long you can keep this person occupied. And,
can I use my core for that? Can I use Cyber Sovereign for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Okay, that's all I needed to hear. It's an 11, so 14. It's not great.
And that's okay. Probably not the most difficult thing to be doing right now because, this person is already engaged with you. So.
I'm trying to describe the perfect pill, and I'm also dropping names of all like the famous people that I can think of. So we're talking like royalty and also like whoever the latest heiress of the Hilton fortune is kind of shit.
Paris Hilton V. It's only been 30 years, but she reproduces fast. Okay, so what I'll say, if it had been a higher roll, you might have distracted more people in there or something, but like maybe you can hear a couple of other voices on the other side of the door, and there seems to be some general confusion. They're not opening the door for you yet, though. Meanwhile, Frankie has headed up the steps, and you get to the top of the stairs, and there is another locked door. This just seems to be a mechanical lock. There doesn't seem to be a keypad on this door.
I would really, really like to try getting another learning on lockpicking, but I didn't bring any equipment for it.
I mean, I'm sure you could improvise something.
Okay.
If you want to just try and jimmy the lock or do something, you might be able to do something.
Yeah. I mean,
do you want to come back down and get a hairpin from Zap?
Yeah, actually, I was thinking just that. So, sort of on the communications, hey Zap, you got anything I could use as a lockpick?
Freddie, do you remember that one time that Millie Hilton, and it just keeps going?
Yeah.
Are you going to offer one of your nail knives?
That was what I was going to do. I was going to go for the hairpin and the nail knife, but I can't leave the door. I have to be stuck to the door, so you got to...
Yeah.
But
where Frankie is like a balcony kind of over above where this door that you're standing at is.
Okay.
So you could flick a nail up to them.
Okay. Yes, I like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a hairpin from like one of the rolls in my hair. I'm going to like hook it onto my nail, kind of like maybe I have a charm on my little nail, and I'm going to take the charm out and I put the hairpin instead and just flick it, and it'll just so it lands like you can hear it whistling past your head. And it lands in the wall next to you.
Okay, so what we'll do is we'll make this an assist roll because you're providing assistance through your nail. So if you roll for your nail flickingness and anything else that you think would apply to providing that.
Okay, all right, let's see. So we've got knife fighting, we've got the daggers. My targeting drone is not out, and I don't want to take it out yet. Does my core fit into this Cyber Sovereign?
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, okay, we'll just stick with the +3 then. Oh my god, I'm rolling terribly today. So that's an 8, 11 total.
Okay, I mean, that at least gives you a 1 bonus on the Frankie roll. So you'll get a +1 ability to use this nail lockpick thing that's been flicked up to you. So you can try and then open the door using that.
I think we did agree that my core breacher does qualify for lockpicking.
Yeah.
Attempt. So that's +3 to make +4 in total.
Cool.
14 total.
Okay. Yeah, you managed to open the door. You do it quietly so that you don't think anyone's going to notice that you've done this. So you open the door, and as you do, you see like kind of metal gangways that are clearly like overlooking the production floor, and you can see down below you there's lots of machines and conveyor belts crisscrossing the floor and stuff. And there's a whole bunch of people down there. You don't see anybody on the gangways. There's no one in this upper area of the production facility as far as you can see. But yeah, there's a bunch of people down there. And you can see kind of in the opposite corner of the room from where you are, there's a raised office that has some stairs going up to it along the side. And then below that, there's some people milling about and doing stuff. And there's some muscly mass of a person that is like bench pressing random, like large objects from the facility. There's someone that's kind of very skittishly just zipping all over the place, just bouncing off the walls and stuff. There's a lot of what look like very unconscious people or very doped up people, and other people that are just kind of... I'm imagining something like a futuristic opium den kind of situation, but they're actually in the factory where the drugs are being produced.
I was going to ask, you got the production and the drugs den in the same open space. Like open plan drugs den.
Yes, pretty much. So you can also see at the back of the room at the bottom, there is a fire exit sort of situation. And then off to the far right side, there's another door that, from what you understand of the layout that you were told before, would lead to the cargo area.
All right.
As you're looking at the gangways as well, one of the gangways clearly leads out to a upper area that is in the same direction as that cargo area.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Frankie is not the most stealthy of people, so might not be the best person for actually sneaking through along these balconies at the top. At the same time, everybody who would be good at that thing is at the other end by the loading bay. So,
well, I mean, there is nobody around in this top part at the moment, as far as you can see, and nobody seems to be paying attention up here. So if you try to sneak, it's not going to be the most difficult of roles.
Yeah. I mean, the first thing, obviously, is to let everybody else know through the comms what I've seen. So
we're going to say you can do that without, like, raising your voice that would be audible to hear anything. Like, so,
hey, guys, it's like a open plan drug den in here. That's what's going on. And they're producing it, and there's the users all in the same place. And there's
probably a few dozen people down there in total.
Much better than drug cubicles.
Maybe somewhere between 50 and 100 people maybe in here. I don't know. And also describe where the office is at far end.
Yeah, you can relay like the layout, so that's fine.
So now everybody knows what it looks like in here. Presumably we're trying to avoid casualties.
A bloodbath would probably not make the best PR.
Yeah, so...
Sounds like maybe it's time for distraction. How much driveway, runway / straightaway is there in front of the loading dock?
If you're looking to get a good run up to ram the shutter, then you can do that.
Mm-hmm. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to hop in the van, reverse back as far as I can, and say, Clarity, I think it's time to go see about the electricity. Will you allow me that I brought a cinder block to put on the accelerator?
You can certainly do something to like jam the accelerator and send the van in, yeah?
Well, unless team thinks it's a bad idea at this point. This is what I'm thinking.
I think it was only the GM who thought it was a bad idea, so...
Which is probably an indicator in and of itself. So
I guess specifically for clarity, you want to do this thing with the substation. Do you want to do that before or after the van is going to crash into the facility?
I'd say probably Clarity would probably want to get maybe halfway towards the substation before the truck slams into it. And then...
Okay. I mean, we can say that that's timed in that manner.
Yeah, tell me when you get to substation door, I will make distraction.
Yeah, I think that probably makes the most sense. So Clarity's probably kind of hiding along the side corner of the substation, keeping an eye on the front door, and then just kind of over the comm says, okay, I'm in position, do it.
Okay, all right. Let's have a bludgeon distraction roll then.
Okay, I don't know that I have anything that benefits pointing a van toward a door.
Yeah, I mean, you can just do a straight roll if you've got nothing.
Yeah, all right, well, I rolled an 11.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'd probably call this a danger roll. So basically, if you get above a 10 on the roll, it does exactly what you want. If it goes under a 10, then it would have been disastrous. But yeah, you managed to point the van in roughly the direction of the door and stick the accelerator down so that it just goes and keeps going. And yeah, it smashes into the door. And this shutter is pretty sturdy, but it crumples. And there's clear gaps underneath it where it's gotten all bent up. The accelerator is still jammed on the van. So it's got the wheels spinning now and the rubber is burning and there's smoke coming up and it's made a huge bang noise. And yeah, if you hang around for a few seconds, you'll hear some voices and some shouts and stuff coming from the cargo bay area. Where is Bludgeon going immediately after doing this?
If there's room, if it's open enough to get under or around the gate now, I think he would ride into the loading dock and say, I told you I have delivery.
Okay. All right. I think swap over to Clarity to find out what's happening over at the substation. And we'll say this is kind of all happening simultaneously. So Clarity, you get to the substation. As you're walking around the back of the building, you can see the fire exit door that Frankie had described around the back. It's kind of close by where the substation is. When you get to the substation, it doesn't look like there's any sort of locks or anything on it. It's just a big kind of shed kind of building with lots of electrical stuff on it. And you can see, I don't know what these things really look like, transformers and cables and all sorts of jazz. So what are you wanting to do once you get to the substation?
So Clarity's plan is just to sort of go into the substation and find like one of those consoles and just sort of, mess with the values so that like the power goes out in the main building so that the lights go out to make it easier for everyone to do what they need to do.
Okay, sure. Let's have a roll for that then.
Okay, let's see.
This will be incurring your trauma, your -1 tech clumsiness.
Yeah. I guess this would also count as hacking too, technically, because you really shouldn't leave like a console unlocked. So there's probably some form of...
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. And then I don't know whether or not, because I'm trying to remember my very limited knowledge of substations, there is technically a lot of data you have to look at, but I don't know whether that's enough justification to be able to use my data analysis skill as well.
Yeah, I think since you're trying to narrow down on a particular building and a particular area of that building, then yeah, you can totally use your data analysis for that.
Okay, so then with the data analysis, the hacking, and the technology, that's 5 -1 for the trauma. Hopefully I won't get a 1 this time. Okay, see, that's better. I rolled a 19, so that's a 23 in total if my math is correct.
Blimey. All right. So with the traumas, you get rid of them by rolling successes against them. So you need to roll 3 successes to get rid of it. So you've now got 1 success against your tech clumsiness trauma. Yeah, you honed straight in on the building you're wanting, the room you're wanting. You've rolled so well, in fact, you could pick out particular power outlets that you want to turn off if you really wanted to. So is it you're just wanting to turn the lights off, or all the power, or are you wanting flashing lights or something wild going on in there? What do you want?
I'd say maybe at this moment, I would probably maybe talk to Zap and Frankie on the comms and just be like, okay, guys, I'm in position. I can blow out all these candles, or I can just turn off a few of them. Like, what do you want? Do you want all of them off? Do you want to start a rave in here?
I think if just some of the lights go off or the lights start flickering, people are going to start looking upwards in the main room, which is bad for Frankie. So if the main room, at least, it goes completely dark, that's best in terms of Frankie not being discovered yet.
Yeah. Okay, so then Clarity's just gonna, give him a quick heads up of, all right, I'm fixing to turn out the lights, so be ready, and, and does like a countdown and then shuts off the lights for the building.
Okay, cool.
I just remembered Frankie's hair. The lights in their hair. Yes.
It's fine. You can turn them off. They're just a narrative device anyway, so that's fine. I'm going into stealth mode.
Yeah.
So the big bang from the van happens, and then a few seconds later, the lights all go out, and you can just hear pandemonium erupts in there. Frankie won't immediately be able to see anything really, but you can hear a lot of voices below you and a lot of running around. And Bludgeon goes to slide under the door that he's bashed a hole through in the cargo area. And as Bludgeon comes up on the other side of this shutter, sees people just pouring into this cargo area from the door that leads into the production area that Frankie described. And there's a lot of people just running out, going towards the door. Some of the people look at you very weirdly. Nobody seems to approach you or anything. Maybe they give you a bit of a wide berth, in fact, and try and go for the people door rather than the vehicle door.
Right.
You probably see like a dozen or so people come through, very panicked, very scared, in all sorts of various bedraggled states. And then after a little bit, you see a very large person come through to kind of more survey the area, what's happening. It's dark, so they can't have a great view of you, but they clearly pick you out as being someone that is not running for the door. You're not supposed to be here. There was no delivery. What have you done to our door?
I made my own entrance. Now come sign for your package.